I'm just leaving Callville Bay now, starting section 3 for I'll hike to Boulder City. Didn't do a 0 or anything here at Callville Bay. There's really no reason to. Got a few items from the store. Just topped off a couple of snacks, really. Ate a nice double bacon cheeseburger and fries. Sat around, chatted. Some of the people that work there. Made a few new friends. And now it's time to head out into the desert once again. Got less than an hour of daylight. I'm gonna try and get up over this hill, find camp, call it a night. Now all this is just a series of washes up and down, up and down. It's probably gonna be a lot of work. The route that I have planned is just gonna take me roughly along the shorelines of Lake Mead here, and then that mountain range over there in the distance. I'm gonna walk that, and then on the other side of those mountains is Boulder City, and that's where I'm headed for my next town stop. Well, this is gonna be camp for tonight. I've been cowboy camping the last few nights, but I think I'll set up my tent tonight. I've got the time, I've got the space, and to be honest, I'm a little tired of the little mosquitoes buzzing my ears in the middle of the night, and the bugs are out pretty heavy already. Already glad I put up the tent. And off in the distance you can see the twinkling lights of Boulder City. Yeah, and one of the big reasons why I've been cowboy camping so much the last few days is just because the soil is so soft. So last night I put a couple of smaller rocks on my tent stakes just to kind of, you know, weigh them down and everything, but then the wind picked up. Not all that much really, maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour, but it was enough to blow the tent over. So I had to get up in the middle of the night and build some cool little rock cairns to weigh down my tent stakes, and that did the trick. It's always a great view from up top, but what I think I'm going to do is just, you know, make it past, you know, maybe let's say that next big one right there, that next big ridge line, and see what it looks like maybe a little bit closer to the water, and see if I can follow a route closer to the water, and that way it would be like the shortest distance to get where I'm going. Wow, it's getting pretty cool down here in this canyon. Even the washes that don't look like much on the map seem to surprise me and end up being pretty cool anyway. It's a surprisingly deep cut channel. Oh, there's a bighorn sheep right there. Yeah, now I think I'm going to head down to the water and just try and follow the shoreline and see how that goes for me. Actually, see more bighorn sheep? Yeah. Yeah, I figure if I can get along the shoreline, there won't be as many larger ups and downs and stuff to contend with. Yeah, and all this now just looks pretty barren. So this is basically the western end of Lake Mead. So I think I'll follow this ridge line down, and then down there somewhere is Government Wash. It's like a boat launch area, campground. So we got a nice cliff here. We got a cliffhanger. Something died here. These feathers. Got a boat here. Remnants of an old boat. You know, needs a little body work. But you know, almost seaworthy. And down here is Boxcar Cove, and all of a sudden there's just a massive network of roads and a ton of people just like car camping and stuff down here. The rest of this hike has been pretty great. You know, even when it's tough, you know, you get something for it. But this is just, you know, a lot of work, very little reward. Pretty much just a sufferfest. Deep sand, deep gravel, thick brush. Now I'm at a, you know, kind of an area where there's all these roads winding around, but they don't necessarily go exactly where I want them to. They just take a really long meandering route to, you know, go somewhere other than where I want to go. So now I'm just gonna walk a couple miles up the Northshore Road. It's the main road that runs through Lake Mead National Recreation Area here, and I think I'm just gonna road walk and make the fastest time. It's a lot of traffic, but boy, these people don't stop for hitchhikers. If I even hitch it, I mean, it's a couple of miles. I'll probably just end up walking it. I asked my hitch to drop me off at the Las Vegas Wash, but she knew I was going to Boulder City, and she ended up just taking me most of the way to Boulder City. So kind of skipped some of the mountains I was going to walk in the river mountains. And my first attempt at section 3 didn't work out as planned. So I've come back to Callville Bay, and I'm going to re-hike this section in its entirety. And I think I'm going to hike a different route this time that should be a little bit better than my first attempt. So let's give it a go. But I realized what my mistake was, and I really didn't follow the planned route I had last time. I just kind of did my own thing. I kind of saw with my eyes what I wanted to do and then followed that, and ended up being wrong. What I did was I took a route that was too close down to Lake Mead. It's really sandy there. I think this time I'm going to stick to a route that stays a little bit further north of Lake Mead, and this time I'm going to hit the top of that mesa up there, Black Mesa. So it's been 2.5 months since I've completed this hike, and really haven't done anything other than day hikes in between. Been living in my camper van, exploring old mines, looking for gems and minerals, doing some day hikes, things like that. But I haven't done anything overnight, so I haven't used this backpack. Went to put it on this morning. Definitely had to loosen up that hip belt a little bit. One thing that makes this kind of terrain here a little bit challenging to work through is basically all these washes are running towards the lake like little fingers. And since I'm going this way, I've got to go up and over all these drainages. And it's not inherently obvious, you know, to the eye what the best path is. A little bit better look at the canyon I'm going to follow. It's looking pretty scenic. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same path I followed last time. The only difference is I went left here, and this time I'm going to go right. So it's a pretty cool wash though. I'm really digging this wash so far. I think it was definitely worth coming back and taking a second crack at section 3 here. I think I like this route better already. Oh, look at the clarity on this one. Man, that is cool. Yeah, and I thought this stuff was gypsum earlier. Honestly, I think it's selenite. Selenite. The clarity on that's cool, and you can see through that almost just like glass. I'm approaching the top of this wash now, unnamed wash. It's led me to the base of Black Mesa. I've got about a 700-foot climb ahead of me to get to the top. I don't really need to do it. Could just walk around the mesa, but that's kind of not the point. The point is to see cool stuff. So I'm gonna go up to the top. Wow. This one's actually a bit of a climb. There's really no good footholds. All right, moving on. Pretty much at the base of the mesa now, so I think I'll climb out of the wash and follow this ridge line up. Now I just got to climb up a couple hundred feet through this boulder field. Top of Black Mesa. Let's look out at the muddy mountains, Pinto Valley Wilderness, where I came from. In fact, I can see the Sentinel. Ah, yeah, nice. Nice view. And from here, the top of Black Mesa, you could pretty much see of all of section 3. And you can also see the mistakes I made on my route last time. I stayed closer to the shoreline. You can see that lighter colored sand down there. That's all deep sand. There's no roads or paths or anything through there. That was all quite a pain to walk to. You get to that point over there, Boxcar Cove and Crawdad Cove, and there are some roads that run to the lake, but not parallel to it. But what I'm gonna do this time is descend Black Mesa here, hit Northshore Road, walk that for 1 mile, take a road that runs southwest, kind of cuts a diagonal path down to Government Wash, and that'll give me easy access to Las Vegas Wash, and that's where I'll round the extreme western end of Lake Mead, and then I'll follow this mountain range here, the River Mountains, and start heading south for the rest of the hike. now it's time to start looking for a way down off this thing. Not that way. I find it kind of funny, this is called Black Mesa. Like literally every mesa I've ever walked was named Black Mesa or Blacktop Mesa. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of variety in the mesa realm when it comes to naming conventions. Route down's pretty steep, but it's also pretty stable looking and fairly short. So get down to about that point, it should be all right. So that's it for Blacktop Mesa. That was my route down. Really wasn't that bad at all. So that worked out pretty well. Get a little bit of a road walk coming up, probably no shade. Take a break here. And these are the kind of things that hide in between the contour lines on the map, you know, 40-foot contour line. This is a 20-foot ravine. So yeah, this doesn't even show up on the map, and I gotta go up and over like, looks like a solid 10 of them before I reach the road. All right, so I want to go this way. I'm just gonna stay just to the right of these red outcroppings and keep me on track. Not a bad view for a road walk though. At least it's only a mile. This is my turn off for Government Wash. Honestly, this road walk's not even that bad. I think it kind of comes down to what kind of mood you're in that day though, you know, like you have good days and bad days just like anybody else, but out here, I think those are kind of amplified, you know. When everything's going good, I wouldn't mind doing this. Like today, you know, today's feeling good today, you know. And when I did this hike the first time back in October, I guess it was just an off day, the day I hitched out of here. I was walking through all this stuff, but it was like deep sand. Just a real pain in the ass. I just wasn't having it that day, you know, and I just kind of made a spur of the moment decision. I was just gonna hitch down like 5 miles down Northshore Drive and just kind of bypass the Lake Mead part and get back up to the river mountains. But my hitch kind of kept driving, and by the time I realized where she was, I was way past the spot I needed to stop at. I just said, you know what, forget it, I'll come back and do this section another time. I'm not too fussed about it. So here we are. There's a look back at Black Mesa. It was on that about an hour and a half ago. Now this is the western end of Lake Mead. That's the Black Mesa I walked earlier today. Callville Bay on the other side of that. And yeah, Lake Mead pretty much ends right here, and you can see Las Vegas wash pouring out into Lake Mead. I'll be working my way upstream along Las Vegas wash. I just got a series of these ridges to go up and over. And this is kind of neat, a little protected bay here. Yeah, I think I'll go up and around this one. Just get up here, I think I'll. This is an interesting area to navigate because on the topo maps it shows all this area underwater. You got to really look at the satellite to kind of see what's going on. And the Las Vegas wash begins right behind me there, but on the map it's still like 1.5 miles as the crow flies that way. And you can see my GPS marker here has me right on the edge of Lake Mead, but yet we look up and there is no Lake Mead, Las Vegas Wash. So Lake Mead would have been right here, and the wash wouldn't have even started until, you know, way up there. Man, look at the depth of this dried mud here. This is about 15 inches deep, 18 inches deep. This is nuts. I've never seen anything like this. Remnants of an old boat, motor right here. And this here is gypsum wash. Looks like it'd be a pretty decent walk if I was going to follow it for any length, but pretty soon I'm going to head out of the wash and take another direction. Sad to see all this garbage everywhere, but it's kind of the reality of being by a lake, I guess. Any popular one. All right, and now Las Vegas Wash is just right here, so I'm paralleling it, and I'm just gonna follow it west for a little ways. Not down there though. I'm gonna try and stay up here. I'm gonna have to stay up here. That's just a little too thick to walk. Well, it's actually pretty cool if the route stays up high like this, like it's kind of looking for a ways. This is gonna be a pretty nice walk. You know, the funny thing is I don't really see any footsteps either, any footprints. I can see there's a bit of a path, but you know, not a single footprint. So I guess nobody really comes back here and walks this. Not to give any spoilers away for the rest of this hike or anything, but there's really nothing else along my route that compares to this. It's a pretty dry route. It's not like you're following big rivers like this one for very often, so pretty unique experience really for the desert. It's time to empty out all the crap that's accumulated in my shoe, and I just thought this was kind of funny. I'm using the same shoes that I hiked with this fall. I went through 2 pairs on the Mojave-Sonoran Trail, and I saved the old pairs because I usually just wear them around the house or, you know, just kind of day to day after my hike. And I started the hike with these just completely worn out today. So I've got no tread and I've been slipping and sliding, and I just wonder if these are even going to make it to the end of the hike, or if I'm going to be walking on my socks by the time this thing's over. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Place your bets. Is this shoe going to last to the end of the hike or not? It's getting a little challenging to follow. Ow. Ow. Oh. Be a tight fit. Oh. It's really nice hearing that roaring water, especially in the desert. I guess the ironic thing is it's so hard to get down to it that even if I needed this water, which I really don't, it'd be a real pain to get to it. And what a cool walk. Really wasn't expecting much out of this Las Vegas wash, but yeah, really digging it. Very walkable too. Well, I guess here's where it gets interesting. So on the map, it looks like there's kind of a deep, narrow canyon that's gonna hit the water here. So I'm gonna back away from the water, go up this canyon a little bit. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get past this rock wall here. If I go to the left, kind of stay along the track that I want to, I'm going to have to go up the wash a little bit, look for a way up and around it. Yeah, this should do for my route up. Drops off pretty steep on this side. I wasn't expecting this. All right, well, at least it's easy going for a little bit. This is a cool little bridge walk. I think I can make this. This is going to be slippery though. Once I get down this wash, it should be all right. It's pretty soft, so as long as it remains soft, I'll be good, because you can just sort of dig your heels in and slide, you know. But if this was solid, I would just slip right down this and scoot down, and we don't want that. Down in the wash now. It's pretty cool. Now, I don't want to give away any spoilers on the rest of the series, but I will say there is a lot of stuff like this. A lot of really colorful, really enjoyable, beautiful canyons and washes just like this along the whole route. Oh, and that's what I really liked about this walk. Look at these canyons, man, that is cool. Alright, back to the river. Now I'm just hoping that there's a path to follow the rest of the way along the river. Oh, I even see a footprint. First footprint I've really seen this whole way. I saw the road on the other side. I was wondering what was going on with that. It looks like they're going to build maybe a bridge across, or I mean, it's got to be. It looks like they just kind of graded this road. They just cut this road. Actually, I got to figure out how to get down to it. And this is going to be another fun one. Hope it's soft. It's not as soft as I wanted. Whoa! Ah! Ow! Whew! Ah, I was hoping it was a little softer than that. A little road rash. But we're down. And actually, here's some access to the river. This is really the first and only access I've had to get right up on it like this without, you know, going way out of my way and having to fight a whole bunch of thick brush. At least I can wash off my hand a little bit. This water's far from the cleanest. It's coming right out of Las Vegas, so it's got a special smell to it and possibly a taste if I were to filter it. But I stashed myself a gallon of water along the road yesterday, so if I hadn't done that, this would be a fine access point for water. This is where I would get my water and it would filter totally fine. Well, this is it for Las Vegas Wash. Pretty much the whole north side of Lake Mead. And this is Northshore Drive. Now I've got about a 3-mile road walk along the road before I enter the river mountains over there and make camp for tonight. Well, this is good to know after I just washed my face in the stream, my open wound. Water in the stream contains contaminants found in runoff from urban areas and treated sewage. Human contact not recommended. But yet, I've contacted it. About an hour of daylight to go. 3 miles to my destination. Should be cutting it pretty close. Man, now that is a view. That's just awesome. And yesterday before the hike, I drove around the route, dropped off a gallon of water in the bushes. Looks like it's still there. So this way I don't have to do any water filtering. It's just an overnight. All right. You mine now. Now it's time to cross the road and enter this old mine. And this mine's called the Three Kids Mine, or also known as the Wheel of Misfortune Mine. You can see these big circular cement things, and people have spray painted the Wheel of Fortune wheel around it, but with like zeros and stuff. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of time to really check this out. I'm trying to get away from the road a little bit, find a place to camp for tonight. Unsafe mine, you say? Sounds like the perfect place to camp. You can see Vegas down there, you can see the strip. And there you go. Huge open pit mine. The wind's kind of coming in from this direction here, so I think I'm going to utilize this natural windbreak and camp somewhere right here. I'm certainly not going to cowboy camp tonight. As soon as I do, you know, it's going to rain. Got a lot of sand in the shoes today, that's for sure. Got a ton of it in my socks. Yep. Last night's camp worked out pretty well. It's a calm night. Got a little bit of sprinkles this morning. At least it's still calm right now. It's supposed to get really windy this afternoon. And This morning I'm meeting up with one of my subscribers, and he's actually doing something pretty cool. He's putting together about a 250-mile loop route around the metropolitan Las Vegas area through Clark County. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'm headed downhill in this mine right now to meet up with him. He's gonna join me for a couple hours today. Not the whole thing, maybe about half the day. Hey, it wasn't too bad.
Real life animated figure.
Yeah, right. How you doing, Kai?
And I was like, yeah, this is actually a really cool place. And it's right around the corner.
So the Wheel of Misfortune. This is one wheel you don't want to spin. Looks like a lot of zeros in there. Although you could win a home. A home. And a bank. So what year did you hike the Appalachian Trail, or section hike it?
The last time I section hiked it was in 19 before COVID happened.
Okay.
And then before that, when I hiked like several, I think I hiked 5 states in pieces. It was 2013.
Okay.
And I started with Connecticut, and then I was just like, I want to do like much more. So I just went down to Georgia and then started like doing pieces of it. And I would get off and then take a bus somewhere and then get back on it.
Okay, cool.
Because I was not in the shape I needed to be.
Nobody's in the shape you need to be at the beginning of a through hike, that's for sure. It's crazy how isolated you feel all of a sudden, you know, just kind of hemmed in by this range, and you can't see like really Vegas at all.
Yep. All right. One take wonder.
Yeah, sweet. All right, man. Well, yeah, like I said, great hiking with you. Likewise. So maybe next time I'm in Vegas, we can do another hike somewhere.
Yeah, I do travel a lot, so
okay.
If you're anywhere awesome, then yeah.
Awesome.
All right, cool.
All right, man. Take care. Well, Kai joined me for about 3 hours this morning. He's got to work later this afternoon, so he had to turn around and go back. That was pretty cool to be able to hike with somebody, a local, and just have somebody to chat with, you know? Big orange sheep just ran away. There he is. There he is. Yeah, now it's time to leave the nice dirt road I've been walking most of the morning. Head off trail for a little ways. Straps on my camera just broke. This is the piece that holds, on the other side you can see, it's the piece that's attached to the body that allows you to clip in like some sort of strap. Yeah, and that's completely broken off. Something. Now I've got a long walk up this wash before I reach the crest of the river mountains. So the river mountains are an interesting range. Right on the edge of Vegas, I guess Henderson and Boulder City. Despite that, I mean, it looks like it gets practically zero use. It's kind of surprising, actually, you know. A mountain range like this, right on the outskirts of town, big town like Vegas, the access is just so limited. Now it's time to head up this canyon, and this is kind of the beginning of what I expect to be probably the most challenging part of the day. Now, this is all going to be off trail. The train's definitely getting a little bit more challenging now. And this kind of stuff I'm working with. And now the route I have planned had me dropping down to this canyon and then going up that one over there. But I do see a game trail skirting the hillside here. So it's probably worth following for a minute, see if it could save me some elevation gain. I don't really see this game trail anymore, it pretty much faded out. Left me stranded in the middle of this hillside. Wow. Some rugged country, boy. All right, well, top of this little saddle here. Not all that far from the crest now. Winds are whipping good today. Just calling for like 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, with gusts up to 50. Up we go. We actually do have a cairn right here. I don't really see that many of these, but you know, I'm not surprised. It's not like people haven't been here before. It's so close to Vegas. I just thought it would have gotten a lot more usage than it does. About 500 feet below the summit now. Just reached this fork in the canyon. Just gotta figure out if I want to go left or right. light now. Those power lines are where I'm headed. And then I'll follow this for about 1.5 miles. Pretty awesome view now. So I've reached this little saddle. I still have a little ways to reach the top. Just following this power line corridor here. And the way this path led me here, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more substantial to follow. Jeez. All right, what do we have on the other side? All right. So you can see, I guess it's Henderson down there, and then it'd be Vegas off in the distance that way. Well, I suppose if you had to, you could put a tent up here and camp, cowboy camp. Winds the way they are today, I'm glad I'm not doing that. I'll be headed up on this ridge line though. I've got 2 unnamed peaks to bag, and then I'll hit River Mountain Peak. This looks like it's gonna be a pretty nice little ridge walk. Right. Wow, what a view. And this now is the crest of the River Mountain Range. Following this way for a little bit. And, you know, another spot to camp right there actually, if one were so inclined. Now there's another unnamed peak along the ridgeline. Be at least a 200-foot climb to get up and over it. No choice but to go up and over this one. Yeah, side's all clipped here. That's not gonna happen. Deep gully here. I had to kind of walk uphill a little bit to get above it so I can cross over it. Thankfully, there's a way right up here at the top. Yeah, you just step over it here, but it quickly turns into a death chute. Well, I just made my way up this ridgeline, and now I'm on the final ridgeline ascent to River Mountain Peak, which is the high point the River Mountain Range. And the summit block is just up there. All right, here we are. Summit of River Mountain. Highest point, the River Mountain Range. That's all of Vegas down there. You can see the strip. And then this all here is the route that I walked, this ridge line. And you can see down there the dried lake bed. Quite a bit of dust getting kicked up from this wind. Here's the summit register. Down to this road. I'm gonna follow it out into this valley, up and over that pass, and that'll drop me down to Boulder City, where I'm gonna end this section. A nice little trail to follow now. I think that peak gets climbed. You know, it's probably like the only reason anyone even comes to these mountains is just to climb that one peak. Now this is my road that's going to take me down out of the river mountains. So the hardest part of my day is now done. Done with off trail, done with the ridge line, done with most of the climbing. So I've just climbed up the road here, made it to the top, and supposedly there's supposed to be some sort of trail leading down this. Well, I sure hope there is. Okay, there is. I see a good path there. Anyways, that's Boulder City down there, and that's the end of section 3, so not all that far away now. And boy, is that a good sight. Sunglasses just blew right off my hat. Oh man, I'm lucky they didn't go over a cliff. Take my hat with me. And there's 2 bighorn sheep right there, right on the trail. Howdy, fellas. Yeah, it's me again. Don't mind me, guys. You guys just go about your day. So I gotta admit, I came into this section, I already kind of had my mind up. You know, this was gonna be a filler section, nothing special. Just kind of do it and get it over with, you know? And the river mountains were surprisingly beautiful and surprisingly desolate. You know, I wasn't expecting that, being so close to Las Vegas. And I think perhaps the most important thing of all about this section is this is the section that kind of ties the whole route together when you really think about it, looking at it on the map. You know, you've got the whole north side of Lake Mead, and this is the section where you round the western edge of Lake Mead and begin your southern trajectory for the rest of the route, you know? And without this section, man, the route doesn't really seem whole, you know? And I can only imagine what those houses cost. Well, my van's still here. That's a good sign. The hotel didn't tow it away. Section 3 done. In fact, for me at this point, I'm done with the whole Mojave-Sonoran Trail. But for all you watching at home, I still got 6 more sections to go. So stay tuned for the next exciting chapter of the Mojave-Sonoran Trail.